All right. So, hello everybody. Welcome to the launch of the new We Do Wind Hill of Towie space from RES. I guess lots of you know who I am. I'm Sarah Barber. I'm from the Eastern Switzerland University of Applied Sciences. I run this whole We Do Wind thing, and Alex Clark is here today from RES, who is going to talk about this new space that's being launched today. And so the idea of the hour is roughly, maybe I don't need to speak for 20 minutes, but it's roughly to sort of tell you about what We Do Wind is. And then Alex will take over and talk about this new space. We're going to have some inspiration from Charlie Plumley, who's also here, who some of you may know, who already runs a We Do Wind space called the Open Data Exploration Space, and he's already run a few different challenges. So I think he's going to tell you a bit about how amazing that is, how his challenge went. And then after that, I want to have a bit of Q&A. So save your questions, or feel free to ask questions while we're speaking as well. We're quite informal and relaxed here. You can write in the chat. I can see the chat. I've got two screens. Or otherwise, don't be shy just to speak. But we can also have questions at the end. And I've planned a Mentimeter with a couple of, like 2 questions or something, just to get your inputs. So that's the general plan. Anybody got any questions? I guess you can see my screen and me. Yes? Was that a yes? You can hear my screen, and no, you haven't got any questions. All right. Good. So I guess you've all signed up. Most of you probably signed up to the We Do Wind platform, or you somehow got this meeting invitation. So We Do Wind is actually about trying to exploit the full value of data. Most of you, if you're data scientists, which probably lots of you will be, you know that there's this general known thing that data preparation often counts for like 80% of the work of data scientists. There are many different studies that have shown this. This is just an example, but generally, like we spend a lot of time preparing data wrangling. And the idea is, what we're trying to do with We Do Wind is kind of reverse this idea that we say, what if you didn't spend 8% of your time wrangling, but you actually spent 80% creating value and insights and only 20% wrangling? And so how do we want to do that? Well, first of all, on the platform, we want to connect you with open data and code, lecture material, but also with information models to describe the data. And then with best practices and guidelines to help you use and publish code and data. And then the second thing is providing you with opportunities to develop code and referencing methods collaboratively or in competition, as well as to co-create common information models and work on best practices. And then the final thing is just like connect with people. So we've learned in our work in digitalization that people are also important. So we've got this thing called the We Do Data Blueprint, which is basically like a template for a structure of a community, which we call an inclusive, human-centered, open innovation ecosystem. And the idea is that lots of people to do with data, that can be asset planners, designers, owners, service providers, but also researchers, students, teachers, lecturers, recruiters, can take part. And it's based around these 4 separate communities. And the idea is that these communities can come together. So we have a load of people developing information models. So how do I describe data? How do I structure it? And the idea is that we bring together groups of people doing that, and they document what they're doing. And then they can publish this on a portal. So we have something called a techno portal where we can publish ontologies. And we have some sort of improvement process where the community gives their inputs. And the idea is that these ontologies actually get used to describe open data. So if any of you have published open data, Alex will show his data soon. The idea is that you then use these descriptions to actually describe your data so people can find it and access it. And then we've got an open data and code community where we have a few groups working on guidelines for publishing code. So when Alex publishes data, some of us got together and had to look how to make that nice and usable and accessible using some guidelines that are already available. And we have a group developing new wind energy based guidelines for doing that. And then these are obviously supposed to then flow into this open data and code portal as well. We have a data users community. So we have a group of people coming together and trying to share code and learnings about using data. So the group at the moment is looking at alarm code data. So we've got together and basically said, okay, all the OEMs, they all have different ways of describing their alarms. How are we going to deal with this? Should we try to make them converge on that, or should we try to find a solution to translate in a common way? And so at the moment, there's a group trying to work out how to do that. And then the final group is where we are in this group today, which we call the collaborative problem solving community. And the idea is that people like Alex and Charlie and other people, they persuade their companies to provide some data, and they set a challenge. So it's a topic that the company is interested in solving, and the idea is that we, the organisers of We Do Wind, manage this challenge. We enable webinars. We provide a place where you can document the challenge, where people can submit their solutions and link to their data and their code. And the idea is that people then work either in collaboration or in competition with each other to solving this, and then we summarize and publish and communicate the results. And you've seen here there's some platforms drawn in. So we've got a data science platform here. We don't actually have that yet. So we're currently working on a Swiss-based project where we're trying to choose between different types of data science platform that we could use for these challenges. So you'll see that Alex is using Kaggle, which is not a data science platform, but a challenge platform. We're actually looking at different platforms that could be used for running your code. So instead of downloading the data, developing your own code, committing it to GitHub, nobody can probably use it because they can't set up their environment to make it work. The idea is that if everything's done inside this platform, then it's reusable and it's a way of coding also collaboratively. But that doesn't exist yet, so we're working on that. And the other thing that doesn't really exist yet is these portals. So we don't have a dedicated wind energy open data portal. We currently have a list of existing portals, but we're also working on a cataloging solution where we can use it through the metadata, have a catalog of all the a dynamic catalog of all the available data and code. The final thing is here on the jobs portal. We don't have this jobs portal either. We just have a chat where people can post job postings. But that's another idea that if we've got people in this community, it's kind of obvious that at some point some of these people will be looking for jobs. So we're going to try to think of some way of connecting people with job opportunities in the future. And then the thing that holds everything together is a communication platform, which is the We Do Wind platform that you've probably all seen. And so just as a summary, in the information modeling community, you can develop or access community developed semantic artifacts, which are basically information models. In the open data and code community, you can access and develop guidelines for open data and code. In the collaborative problem solving community, you can work on and access different solutions and reference methods. And in the data users community, you can work on and access guidelines and shared code. So that's a summary of what it looks like. We also had a look at some of the challenges we're trying to solve. So I'm not going to go through all of these in detail because it's quite a lot, but the general idea is to say, okay, you use data, any of these challenges may be familiar to you or more. And then the idea is that this information modeling community can help with those. And then the same, if you're analyzing data, you have to rewrite code every day. What methods should you be using for data cleaning and analysis? Or even if you're trying to sell your methods to customers, how can you show to them that your code is good or better than your competitors? Maybe you're struggling to find data sets to train, test, and validate models. You don't know how to find out about state-of-the-art methods. Okay, you go to a conference, but then you can't actually access them, or you don't know which is the best, and there's no place where they've been benchmarked or compared. And then maybe you've also got the experience that you're looking for libraries and you don't know which one to use, or it's difficult to implement them. So the different data portal and communities are trying to solve that problem. If you own data, we're also thinking about, people like Rez or Charlie's company. What are the motivators to actually publish data? So maybe you don't know what the best methods are to apply to your problem, so you want to have a We Do Win challenge. Maybe you actually want to publish some data, but you don't really know how, or you don't have any resources to work out how. Maybe you don't know how to assess the quality of the methods that externals bring to you. So that's the idea, that as a data owner, you can publish challenges, we can access publishing guidelines, or you can develop reference methods or access methods. Then a few other things to do with more soft things. So we're thinking We Do Win can get used if you want to take part in a challenge, you get yourself noticed. So actually, the reason Alex created this new challenge is because he won two We Do Win challenges and thought it was wanted to show off about it. No, but I think it's a way of, if you win a challenge, you can maybe show to companies that you're good at what you're doing. The same for finding project partners, teaching resources. We've got this whole topic of use cases as well. Maybe you have some code and tools, and you want to find some use cases to demonstrate how good they are. Maybe you have your own community, which is kind of aligned or separate, and you want to generate more traffic. So we've got some spaces where we literally just have an explanation. This community does this, join it by contacting this person. And then it's like getting more traffic and notice to your own community. And the last point is about, if you want to create your own platform, like instead of We Do Wind, like We Do Energy Data, or We Do Hydro or something. So we're going to build some templates to allow people to create their own entire systems, but that's kind of a future thing. So just quickly, almost finished, getting to the platform. So we use this horrible commercial offering from Silicon Valley called Mighty Networks, which happens to work wonderfully for what we need. So it's like, it creates like blank, you have like templates, and you can put a logo in, and you can structure the space how you want. And then we have basically on the platform these 4 separate communities that I mentioned before. And it also then connects you with these different resources, tools and events, and also with the people in the different working groups. There are some public, most of the working groups are public, but there are also private ones. Like you might see, there's a Research Data Alliance group, for example, where you have to be a member of, or some of the IEA Wind Task 43 groups. And then it connects to these portals, which I already mentioned before, don't actually exist yet, but we're working on that on a grant started in April. So the platform itself, I said, is this bit, which is kind of connecting everything together. You can get started at this address, but I'm guessing you've already all done that anyway. And you can get to the Hill of Towie space, but I think Alex can show you how to do that. So now I'm just going to pass on to Alex to go to his presentation. Do you want to share your own, I guess, while he's doing that?
Yeah. Can do. I mean, it's the same slides I sent you, Sarah. If you want to keep driving, I don't mind. But yeah, I guess I might as well, because I could bring up Chrome and stuff.
Yeah, do that. And
so is that working?
Just before you start, does anyone have any questions or comments about what I said? All right, then.
Right, can you see kind of display of the PowerPoint now?
Yeah, it's the right screen now. Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, first of all, thank you very much, Sarah, for running We Do Wind, and yeah, I've gotten a lot out of the different challenges and groups so far. And Gabe Calvo helped me launch this Kaggle competition. Not sure Gabe could join today, but definitely wanted to acknowledge Gabe's work on this. I guess to start with motivation for the challenge. First of all, we're excited to have put out this new data set, and a practical challenge is a good way for people to learn a new data set. So this is the Hill of Towie Wind Farm open data set, which I'll show a bit more of on the next slide. But I suppose about the heart of the challenge is about modeling power of wind turbines, which is a fundamental capability with many practical applications. One that I work on a lot is energy uplift measurements. So trying to report the AEP, that is annual energy production of some benefit that we've sold for a wind farm. So these could be things like blade add-ons, which is shown in the picture in the upper right. Those are vortex generators in particular. could be wake steering or other forms of wind farm control, could be controller tune-ups, etc. There's a presentation that goes into this topic in more detail, which I'll put a link in the chat in a mo. But the challenge is about improving power modeling capability, and the challenge has been structured to emulate a typical commercial wind farm upgrade situation. So typically we don't always have a high quality wind measurement device like a LiDAR or a mast or something like that on a commercially operating wind farm. But we do have SCADA data from lots and lots of wind turbines around the turbines we're concerned with. We also sometimes have the restriction that we can't toggle the upgrade like you can with a controller-based upgrade. So say you've glued some things onto the blades. Once they're on, they're on. So you have to split the data into kind of a strictly before and after split. And this challenge emulates that. The training data is from the 4 years from 2016 to 2019. And then the challenge is to predict the power for one turbine during 2020. So that is how it is structured. I suppose I'll pause there. I'll just drop the link to this PowerPoint into the chat while I'm going. Here she is. Just so if you're curious more about uplift measurement, there's more detail in that presentation. The dataset itself is published on Zenodo, so I'll drop that in the chat as well now so you can see it. It's 8 years of SCADA data from a 21 wind turbine wind farm in Scotland. The wind farm Hill of Towie, it was originally developed by RES and is owned by TRIG, which is the Renewable Infrastructure Group. So I want to say a very, very big thank you to TRIG for giving us permission to make this dataset public. And also thanks to Lincoln, who's on the call. She helped me prepare this data and add the metadata and things like that. There's some interesting stuff in the data. This isn't related to this challenge necessarily, but while I'm explaining the data, we particularly chose this one because our company installed some upgrades. One was a product we call AeroUp, which are blade add-ons, which was installed on one turbine in 2021 and then rolled out to the rest of the farm in 2022. And more recently, we did a controller upgrade called TuneUp and did a test campaign on 9 of the 21 turbines starting in March. So that data contains those interesting events that happened during the data set, amongst many other interesting things. But I guess to get to the challenge, so this is my last slide. The challenge itself is taking inspiration from Charlie Plumley's wind speed challenge. So this is what it looks like. And thank you again to Gabe. So Gabe Calvo did a lot of the legwork to get this challenge created. I won't go through all of this, but some key facts. We set a fairly generous time constraint on it, so it ends 6 months from now. Because I know how things are. I've got a full-time job myself. It's not always easy to squeeze in time for such things. So there's plenty of time to take part. We tried to make the data very easy to start working with by putting the most important data into Parquet files. So you can, if you're familiar with Parquet files, those are really easy to load into a Pandas data frame or similar. But in addition to this sort of like really easy to access subset of the data, you can go to the original data set on Zenodo and use more data from that if you want. So for example, these Parquet files only have data from the turbine of interest, which is T1, and the nearest turbines. But if you want to go grab data for all 21 turbines, you can use this original Zenodo data and load it all up. There's a little link to some code here, which shows how this data pack was created originally. So if you're a Python user, you can start from this code and iterate on it. This is a public GitHub repo. So that's the data. It's a very, very quick introduction to the data. There's a very handy getting started notebook on Kaggle, which Gabe did, which steps through a very, very simple analysis of and submission for the challenge. So here's like a first little look at the data. You have here wind speed for turbine 1, wind speed for turbine 2, wind speed for turbine 3, etc. for this row representing the 10 minutes from midnight to 10 past midnight on the 1st of January 2016 UTC. So you can like kind of start to just look at the data to see it. We have merged in ERA 5 weather data for those who like using reanalysis data. There's some ERA 5 data already merged in as well. But I won't talk through the whole notebook, but the notebook defines a very, very, very simple model, shows how the model does in terms of predicted power versus actual power, makes a submission file, which looks like this. And that submission file is finally scored on the leaderboard. So this is the file that getting started notebook creates. In order to participate in the challenge, the bare minimum thing to do is to upload a CSV to this challenge. That's the bare minimum to do to participate. You don't have to join calls and use the WeDoIn platform, etc. Obviously, that's encouraged, but just submitting CSV files is the bare minimum. And when you submit them, it automatically scores them and shows you some other statistics. And I'm really pleased to see we already have some people participating. Congratulations to Connor, who's the front runner. And I think I noticed. Oh yeah, Connor, you put your code up. Thank you very much. That's very nice. So as a very quick tour of the Kaggle, I've got a few other links here. So I think Sarah already showed this, but definitely encourage people to engage with the WeDoIn page as well. There is a challenge registration spreadsheet. If you go into there and you enter your name and email address, then that will just help me keep you up to date as over the next 6 months as the challenge progresses. Like I can add you to email, or I can add your email to Outlook invites and things like that.
Alex, just quickly on that point, I think one of the other points of having that, as well as just the whole point of having that registration, as well as just for you to be able to document everything, is there's a column which says looking for people to do it together with or not. And so I think if you put a yes in there, then we can help you.
Oh yeah, true.
First of all, we can help you find people to work together with, but secondly, well, obviously you can just do that in the chat as well. But secondly, it's also to add other people in the team. So like if you're on Kaggle, you usually just one person who's submitting the results, and if there's more than one person working on it, you can put the team members there, because usually we create at the end at some point write some paper or do something together, or at least we want to give you participation certificates where we put your names on, and then it's much easier if I've got all the names in there, we can give credit to the people to all the people who worked on it. So that's also one of the reasons.
Nice, thanks, Sarah. Yeah, makes sense. I guess last thing to say, I'll put this in the chat, but there's just some more Python code in this repo which can show you other ways to work with the Hill of Towie data, can provide some useful insights. So for example, I think people who have worked with wind data, well, here's like a map of the wind farm, which is always nice. So there's T1 in the lower left, who's our target turbine, and these are the locations of the turbines provided in that Parquet file I mentioned. But you can see where all the other turbines are. But yeah, people who have worked with wind data before will appreciate things like, the northern calibration of the turbines might jump in time, which this plot demonstrates. So there's some other insights you can glean if you have a look at some of this stuff in this repo as well. But yeah, I think I'll maybe hand over to Charlie at this point, unless there are any burning questions, and maybe Charlie can talk to the previous WeDoIn challenge, which was similar to this and was my inspiration for setting this up, which is the Kelmarsh Predict the Wind Speed challenge. But I'll pause for pause for questions if there are any burning questions right now before I hand over to Charlie.
You'll share this presentation as well, or it'll be available somewhere?
Yeah, can we just upload it to We Do Win, Sarah? Or...
Yeah. So I can send you the link, but if you go to the main We Do Win page, you'll see there's a subsection called Webinar Recordings. And usually what we do there is put the recordings on YouTube and embed the YouTube video, and you put a link, and we can put the slides there as well.
Great, thank you.
Just Alex, what you have to do quickly, you have to, because you've done this recording and I'm not going to get access to the recording, if you
We'll need to upload the file, I guess. Yeah.
File somewhere and share it with me, then I'll sort that out for you.
Thank you. Okay. I can quickly pop the slides in the chat as well, hopefully. But yeah, any other questions before Charlie talks about the previous CalMARS challenge?
Hi, it's Yolanda Vidal from Universidad Politécnica de Catalunya. Just a very quick answer. I didn't get exactly the main objective of the challenge, because it's to predict the power, but when conditions changed, yes, so it's like something new is installed, and then you want to predict the power production after that change. But training data, it's associated to the previous situation. So I don't know if I'm not completely understanding, but for me, it's my question is, if we try to train with previous data, and it was a previous situation, and there's some big change in how the blades behave, for example, then we need to retrain or fine tune or retrain a little bit more with this new situation. Or did I miss something? Thank you.
No, yeah. Thank you for your question. Everything you're saying is absolutely right. So a way you can think about uplift measurement, so I could maybe show this slide again. Seeing. So here's an example where we have measured the energy increase after a blade upgrade and found, in this case, it was just over a 4% increase for this turbine. You can think of that calculation as comparing some real power measurement after the upgrade with a model of what the turbine would have done if you hadn't have upgraded it. And that's the tricky part. In order to measure and upgrade, what you really want to do is sort of run a turbine for a year, then install vortex generators on it, say, then put the turbine in a time machine and send it back in time a year and let it run for the same year, so that you have two time series of power, the upgraded power and the baseline power. But we don't have time machines, at least not big time machines that wind turbines can fit in. So instead, we sort of measure real power of the upgraded turbine, and then we need to compare it to some expectation of what it would have done had the upgrade not occurred. So that is where this modeling capability is helpful. Now, in this challenge, there's no upgrades in this challenge. I've chosen data which is just the turbines are the same the whole time. So the data we've chosen is from 2016 to 2020. For this particular wind farm, there's no upgrades before 2021, September 2021. So in this challenge, we're comparing the model that you're going to make with what really happened. And if your model is perfect, then they should match. The way the score is calculated, this is sort of explained more in the overview, but this is the mean absolute error in kilowatts of your model of power compared to real power data, which is hidden from you. So Connor's entry got a mean absolute error of 51 kilowatts over the year 2020. But yeah, long answer. Does that help clarify?
Yeah, very clear. Now I got it. Thank you. It's now it's clear. Now I understand the main problem, let's say, and why do you want this data? Why is it useful? And now I understand that what we will really do in this challenge, in fact, is we will have the ground truth. We will know exactly the real power, because nothing will be changed, in fact. Okay. Very, very clear. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, while I'm here, I forgot to say one thing. There's basically one rule, which is this copied from Charlie's. Don't cheat. Cheating in this context is just like looking at T1 data after 2019, because it's on Zenodo. So resist the temptation to look at the answers. But do look at the other bits of the original data set. And I forgot to say as well, feel free to use other resources like ERA5, or say you want to do a little bit of modeling to help engineer features. Feel free to approach this problem like you would at work. But I'd ask that if you can, favor public resources, like Floris is public, ERA5 is public, because then you can share your work with the rest of us openly.
Cool. Is it okay if I just say 2 minutes on the previous challenge? Because then I've got to jump to the next.
Oh, sorry, Charlie. Yeah, I forgot you had a time constraint. Yeah, please go.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I'll just share my screen. Effectively, on Kaggle last year, or coming up to the end of last year, then we ran a challenge which was predicting the wind speed at a turbine. So this new challenge is predicting the power at the turbine. The previous one was just looking at a wind speed estimate for the turbines. So anyone who's previously been in this challenge, I've just added a link to the Hill of Towie challenge. So this one is closed. So it closed on December 2024. I'd say, I'll just highlight the key things. So the results, if we go to the leaderboard, Res was top, which Alex was part of that group, 4 people. What I would say is actually people who didn't have very much experience on wind or in the technology area in general, like my brother Harry, who just likes playing with computers, could get a very good score as well. So you don't have to be a wind expert to actually compete in these kind of challenges. In fact, I think data scientists are kind of, to a degree, the experts in these kind of problems. But what that means is it was very interesting to learn from others in the field. So those in the wind industry started from analytical approaches using statistics or averaging or binning of data, trying to determine if turbines were operational or not, going through a very let's say physics-based approaches. And then as the competition progressed, people used machine learning models. People used auto machine learning, so they'd train the models automatically, or hyperparameter tuning, all these things that I'd never heard of. And I think that's one of the great things about being involved in these competitions is if people share the results and share the analysis that they're doing, then you get to learn from each other and compete against each other, yes, but also cooperate together to get to a better result in the end. So the score we got at the end was below 0.3. At the start, we were all stuck around 0.35 or 0.5 even. So it really showed big progress through sharing and learning. And Alex highlighted on his page as well, there's the code. So you can run your code in Kaggle, and then you can also make your code public. So what that means is you can start with some very simple analysis, publish it, share it, let people know about it, discuss it in the We Do Wind space as well as in Kaggle or in the meetings. And then you can copy other people's codes and develop it further and see if you can get a better result at the end. So yeah, I'd encourage not to stay siloed and try and keep things to yourself, but rather to share any results or analysis that you do so others can learn and you can learn too. So that's my piece.
Nice. Maybe we can just quickly add, if anyone's interested in joining Charlie's space, it's called the Open Data Exploration Space, and we're actually, the next couple of months, we're going to be testing out a data science platform for using and running code. So if any of you are interested in that, if you join in time for the next meeting on the 18th of June, then you can get involved actively. Okay, I really want to do this Mentimeter survey. Does anyone want to say anything else before we do a Mentimeter survey or ask something? Okay, so I put the link in the chat.
Oh, there's one hand up actually.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Yuri.
Yeah, do we get a bounty?
Yeah.
Is there a prize, you mean, or?
Yeah.
Well, we've
I
got
think
certificates. We said we'd give everybody participation certificates, but I didn't. What did we say about the prize, Alex? We said there's no prize.
I think, yeah, like I'd like to do like a cash prize one day, but I think this one, because the answers are on the internet, having a cash prize didn't seem viable. So because the answers are on the internet, and I'm asking you to use the honor system and don't look at them, there's no monetary prize on this one.
No, I didn't expect the monetary. I was asking more like trinkets.
I mean, in the previous challenges, we had participation certificates, and we had like first, second, third prize, which wasn't actually a physical thing, but it was just on the certificate. It said first prize. Yolanda just left. She won first prize. I think first prize in one of the previous ones. So we should have asked if she had been here. We could have asked her if she was happy with that. But actually, this is one of the questions in the Mentimeter. So this is another reason to go to the Mentimeter. I've put the link on the chat, and you can also scan the code if you want. So the first question is, I'm most interested in. I guess you can all see the first question now. One person's answered so far. 2, 3, 4. Okay, now you're starting to answer. See, nobody wants to win a prize anyway. Although only 2 people have answered so far, so let's wait a little bit. If there's any other things that aren't on that list, please tell me or tell us. Write it down in the chat or say it. Oh, one person wants to win a prize. I think 8 out of 12 means that there's still 4 people deciding. I'm not 100% sure though. Yeah, there's a question.
Hey, this is Ahmad. Yeah, I'm from Georgia Tech. I had a question from Alex. So the scores are being calculated based on 30% of the data. That's why I read what I read on Kaggle. I was wondering if there is a reason for that. So why really it cannot be calculated with the whole testing year?
Yeah, so it will be on the competition closing date. So the idea
Okay.
is that you're getting a sense of where you probably are on the leaderboard, but to keep it exciting, it reveals what the actual score is on when the competition finally closes.
That sounds great. Thank
you. That's a good question though.
It seems like a typical Kaggle thing, so that's like a pre-configured Kaggle option to make it like that.
All right. Okay, well, I'm quite interested in these results. So most people are interested in the highest score by far is learning from others, which is great and supports what Charlie was saying. And only one person wants to win a prize, so we don't need to worry about that question. Is there anything missing on that list? While you're thinking if anything's missing, I'm not recording this and it's not anonymous anyway. I can't tell who answered what, but just generally to see, are you here because you think you're probably going to take part or you're probably not going to take part? I didn't give any other options. Definitely or definitely not. So 8 people are already on probably, which is pretty good. Don't know what the other people are. Okay, so most of you are here because you actually want to take part in the challenge. Nice. Is there anything? I think that's it. Those are the only 2 questions I asked. Yeah. Is there anything you all need to know from us, or want to know, or any resources you need in order to get started?
Hi. Thanks for the presentation. Just so the Parquet files that you talked about, Alex, how do I access those? I was just looking through the links you posted in the chat.
Yeah, good question. So, couple ways to do it. Share screen. If we go to data, here's data. I think one can just
Okay.
download
I
all
wasn't even
there.
on Kaggle.
Yeah,
Being in
no
Kaggle
worries.
would be a good start.
Oh yeah, one needs to sign in. Like if you have a Gmail or something or anything like that, you can just I just use my Gmail when I do this, but I'm showing it incognito because I have like I can see private stuff like the actual scores. But yeah,
Sure.
you can
Yeah,
do
no problem.
download all. That's fine. And yeah, this notebook as well. You can any notebooks you choose to write on Kaggle can they just magically access it by virtue of being attached to the competition. So here, you get a Kaggle path automatically and can access the Parquet files with very little work if you choose to run your code on Kaggle.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Actually, Alex, I was going to ask you. At the moment, I see on the in the We Do Win space that you've planned a final webinar. I think that's the only one that's the closeout on the 3rd of December. So that's the aim of that is to sort of present the results and stuff. Do you have any intention to put any in between, or are you intending to ask people if they want to? Because, like, for example, Charlie Spacey has a fixed thing where he does it every month, and I think part of what he does is a lot of community building and people talking to each other and sharing ideas. And you were in some of those meetings where you discussed some of the Kaggle, and that I think that did lead to some new ideas because they discussed all their results together. So I would like to encourage at least one interim webinar, if not more. But obviously, it's up to you, really.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah, I definitely would be. I definitely think we should have at least one interim one, and yeah, there's a closeout one which I'll pop in the chat now. So the closeout is for after the Kaggle ends. So by the closeout, we can hopefully have people presenting what they've done, and we can see the final leaderboard and give out the prizes should there be any. But yeah, I agree. There should be an interim one. I was thinking I might see who signs up for the registration and then send a Slido or post a Slido. Is it? No, it's not Slido. Doodle, is it? Where you can say which dates work for you. Is that the one? So I can put out a poll. Because I don't know. Also, like, there's some people on the call from Colorado. There's some people from other parts of Europe. So I thought I'd put out a dates and times poll and see who fills it in. Yeah, to do an interim one. I think an interim one would be great. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can probably just put in the feed of We Do Wind the doodle, and then if people fill it out, they fill it out, and if they don't, they don't, and then you just choose the best time based on that, and people can still come. Like we've always done We Do Wind webinars at this time slot or the hour after to get people from the US in, and not be too late for people in Europe. It seems to be quite a good compromise. But yeah, if you end up having 90% of the people from the US or 100% from Europe, then you might want to change that. So I think it's generally a reasonable idea to try to find a date on Doodle.
Yeah, so I will do that. I'll pop a doodle on the We Do Win thing. I think if people sign up, I can also just email the link around with all the emails that are in that registration spreadsheet as well, just to make sure people see it. And
that brings another a really important point about We Do Win for everybody. If you want to be notified, like you either have to, I mean, you have to sort that out yourself. So like on, either you have to turn email and notifications on and then you get an email, or you have to regularly look on the platform because you otherwise you might miss something. And personally, I think the idea of sending emails to people who have signed up, that's not the whole point of having a platform. The whole point is that you decide yourselves if you want notifications. So I think you should say, if you want important notifications, including choosing the doodle and coming to the event, you have to sort it out, the platform the usage in the way that is best for you. Like I turn notifications off because I look at the platform every day. But if you're not looking at the platform every day, you might want to turn notifications on, which is quite easy to do. So I mean, you can obviously start sending emails, but I would recommend trying to promote people actually using the platform. So everybody's in the same place. But
no, it makes sense. Going into my We Do Win
And I
personal settings
appreciate
and
this.
fiddling with them now.
what, Jonathan?
That, the daily digest is very helpful. Like,
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, I don't get like as they happen emails, but at the end of the day, it's very nice for me to have a summary of everything that's happened. You know, reminders about this coming up. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that this was coming up next week. And to see it in the daily digest has been helpful for me.
Do you get on the Daily Digest? Because I only have the Daily Digest on my test account where I'm not really signed up for much. Do you get when you get personal messages, or when you get when there's notifications in a space you're signed up for? Do you get that on the digest as well?
Yes, it'll be on the digest.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's very, so like if I miss something, it all shows up there. So I've thought that that's a very helpful thing if I'm not on the website every day to make sure I don't miss anything.
Good, thank you. And Yuri also says it helps for people coming along on the way. Yeah, the trouble is that's the whole point of having this platform, I guess. But people are probably going to join because once they see, we'll do a LinkedIn post about the launch, and some people will probably come and sign as we go along. And then if you haven't trying to do that on email, you're getting a mess because you're not document everything. It's not all there, and then people miss out on information. So yeah, let's try and do stuff on the platform and turn our digest on.
How do you turn the digest on? I'm trying to do it now. I'm dreadfully bad with platforms. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm trying to do it as well, but I can share my screen as I'm trying. At least we can try together. I mean I'm guessing it's going to be in personal settings. I don't mind if you all see my personal settings. Notifications. Yeah, so email updates are off. Desktop notification. I don't know, Jonathan, do you know where it is actually? I think you've got it turned on.
No, I probably spent a while figuring it out and then just turned it on, and I'm awful at supporting one-time efforts on things.
You know, you can actually use the this thing. I use this thing. So this help thing is like an AI bot, but and it's not me who's answering it. It's the actual product support people, but it does do it immediately. So I'm sure if I search for now, how do I turn on my daily digest? It's going to have it.
So I clicked. I have that little on the homepage. There's that little alarm bell in the upper right corner.
Yeah.
So then it comes up with, it goes right to the notifications, and I can do.
Yeah, I got
if
it
I
as
click,
well.
So then notifications, then I click on notification settings, and I can get email updates, and then there's an email frequency right below that says as activity happens or daily digest.
Oh yeah. That's what the bot just took.
You have to toggle email on, Sarah. So if you scroll up to the top,
Okay.
there's an off thing when you turn that on. There she is. Yeah.
Great. Hey, there you go. Now everyone knows how to do it, and no excuses.
Well, it's just nicer because you get, as stuff happens and it's just your inbox is full, that the daily digest is perfect.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Any more?
Thanks, Jonathan.
Any more questions?
Yeah, you're welcome.
I like it when people who use We Do Win know more about it than I do. This is a good sign. All right, then. Hope to interact with you soon, and good luck with the challenge. And yeah, I'll send at some point, Alex, if you put the presentation and the recording downloaded somewhere, and I'll upload it, and then I'll send a notification that it's available. And maybe Alex, you send a notification once you've got the doodle for an interim, and then and we'll be in touch. But otherwise, I encourage people to write comments and questions on the platform or discuss stuff and try to get some conversation going. Yeah. You want to say anything, Alex?
No, just excited about the challenge. Thank you, Sarah, for your help setting this up, and looking forward to it. Thanks for joining, everyone.
My pleasure. Oh, maybe one last thing. We're meeting in Wesk. We're having a dinner on the Wednesday, so you should be able to find on We Do Wind if you're interested in meeting us in person. Alex won't be there, but I will. Then please sign up for that. And, maybe we'll meet in person. All right. See you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.